And a Howland man pleaded guilty yesterday to being a felon in possession of a firearm. 65-year-old Ralph Nason is prohibited from possessing firearms as a result of prior felony convictions, including a federal conviction in Massachusetts. Court records show that in September of last year, several individuals reported seeing Nason in possession of a firearm. Investigators later executed a search warrant at his home and found a semi-automatic handgun under a sweatshirt on the dining room table, along with ammunition. Nason will be sentenced after the U.S. Probation Office completes a pre-sentence investigative report.